programmatic problem with the fight against apartheid. In fact, even to talk about fighting apartheid was wrong, because what the fight should have been around coloniality and colonialism. Because apartheid is part of colonialism. It's just like the last stretch of the colonial era, of the physical, material colonial era that we had to go through. Why I'm saying that is because if you're fighting over racial integration, if you're fighting for your right to Chole Nomlungu, then you get that. That's what you got in 1994.
Yes.
You basically got the right to go to work where, move after 6 o'clock wherever you wanted, to live where you can afford, go to school where you can afford. That's basically what you voted for. You didn't vote for, black people didn't actually even understand. And this is evidence of it. Today we are evidence. We didn't understand that governance has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with economics. Race has nothing to do with it. Race has nothing to do with who you vote for, how you vote, etc. It's irrelevant. What is relevant is what happens to your economy. What happens to you as a person economically, your children, your family, your neighbors, your community? What happens with you after voting economically? The rest is nonsense. It's social stuff. Who cares about social stuff? Where I can go and drink alcohol if I drink alcohol and get drunk. We participated in it as citizens of South Africa. We participated in the fake struggle for liberation. There's no liberation unless you are able to take care of yourself. For as long as you're going to depend on somebody else to feed you, you're 18 years old, you're still living at home, and you have a nerve to tell your parents nonsense whenever they tell you, hey, you're an adult. You shouldn't be living at home at 18, right? So if you're fighting for a society that keeps you dependent well into your teens, you're a human being. You've got a brain that's more superior than any animal. That's why you're a human being. You should be able to exercise that brain, to be independent, to coexist with everybody else on this earth in a responsible way, but make your contribution, be a productive citizen. You're not on this earth to come and be a dependent. At the age of 30, 40, 50, you are fighting over your mother's house. And then you're talking about freedom, this and that. We have the wrong context of freedom. And the fact that we are not incapable, but we are finding it extremely difficult to develop ourselves economically as black people, to organize ourselves administratively, the way white people did. When they wanted to implement apartheid, they made sure that they were organized. Ward councillors during apartheid, under the apartheid government, were not paid salaries.
Really?
Yes. Because being a ward councillor, you are ward dini. You don't even need a bus. There's few wards in South Africa where you need a bus. There's Ward 99 in Tshwane, if they haven't redemarcated it, where you literally need transport to travel from one part of the ward to another. There's another ward in Sidibeng, in Devon, where you need transport to travel in the ward because it's so vast. Many rural areas have got those kinds of wards where it's one ward. But in an urbanized South African context, like here, La Esprit Ward Bani, La Skona Manch, you don't need a ward councillor on a salary to do what? For him to walk and go and check the substation, see if it's working. For him to go and check up on ama households to see if there's any social issues that need to be attended to. For him to go and check a pothole yangale Khumalo Street. Udingani moto la Spruit View. Okanye a city of Joburg, inside the CBD of Joburg, or in my area, North Riding, or in Soweto, or anywhere, Vosloorus, Katlehong, Tembisa. Why would you need a car? Why would you need a salary to do what? The bylaws and the laws were changed because the current criminal government are basically clowns and thieves who have no idea of what an economy is. They've no clue. All they wanted was to make sure that they can get into politics, fight over seats. That's why they have proportional representation as a system. To say, you vote for the political party and its executives through its own so-called democratic processes, which we've discussed before, are not democratic at all, when I gave you the example of if you look at a ward. So everything that you need to look at in government to work out whether it's working or not, just look at the area where you stay. Don't worry yourself about what's going on in town, what's happening in waterfall estates, what's happening, Don't worry yourself about that. Look at your area, your ward, and ask yourself, is everything okay? And if it's not okay, what needs to be done to make it okay? If we had made sure that public representatives do not get a salary, one, that they get to keep their jobs and they do this as a part-time thing, like happens in China. In China, and I stand corrected, if I'm wrong, I'll do my research, but I'm pretty sure in China, members of parliament don't get salaries. They have to have their own careers and jobs and businesses, right? And then they do this lawmaking, monitoring laws, amending laws, oversight over, government expenditure. You need oversight. You do oversight in your own house, in your own family. Mawuqeda ukuthola imali yakho ukuhola, uyachecka ebhank, ama-debit orders. That's oversight. If you're going to take your salary uhambe uye tavern uyodakwa kuqala okanye uyothengela your side chick a blonde weave okanye uyomenzela i-chemical peel okanye umthengela iqathula, you're not doing oversight, you're reckless. And if your wife or your kids or anybody else that you share your life with are not going to do oversight over you to see that you're not wasting imali yala ekhaya, what's going to happen? You're going to end up with pretty much a situation that South Africa has ended up in. Why? Because we, the kids who are supposed to be part of government, we don't know how much money government collects every month. If I can ask anybody in this room now, from even including the technical team, how much money does South Africa collect in taxes? Okay, at least a year. Give me an average. They don't know. Why? If you don't know that basic information, right? Like my daughter used to always know how much I earn because then it was me and her. I had to make her understand that, listen, you're my responsibility because I gave birth to you. So how much money I earn is important to you so that you understand when I say no, I can't afford this, you get it. I-bond imalini, imoto imalini, insurance imalini, ukudla, ugezi, all the stuff that we have to pay for, levies in the body corporate. In fact, she often should be like, how are you managing? I mean, how did you manage all this time? When she now understands that actually mali ayiko. So we are those reckless,